So, welcome to our late summer kind of turning towards autumn yin yoga practice. So, this time of year, kind of end of August through into September, you might begin to notice that kind of change in the season. So, maybe you've noticed mornings are just that little bit more chillier, as though there's a little kind of crispness in the air in the mornings and evenings perhaps starting to get a little bit darker, feeling of just starting to turn towards the darker months of the year. And whilst it might be quite sad to have that feeling of summer kind of drifting away, it's not all negative. It can be also a celebration of maybe earlier sunsets and that magical light that you get with a kind of later sunrise and an earlier sunset. You might get some of that gorgeous kind of late summer evening or morning light. And so the key is to slow down and to take time to notice and appreciate this really gradual turn from summertime towards autumn, and this period now, this time of kind of in between and of transition, and a real time to just appreciate that kind of final bloom of summertime. Really soak it in and have a feeling of kind of filling yourself up with that warmth as we do begin to turn towards darker and colder months to come. So we can do so through our yin yoga practice. So we'll have a lovely kind of slowing down, kind of beginning to turn towards autumn practice today. You might need some blocks, and if you have a bolster, that's great, or perhaps just a rolled up blanket or a cushion, that might come in handy. And we'll begin in a child's pose. So a nice wide knee child's pose. You won't need your props quite yet, so you can pop them to one side. And then just find your way down. So we'll bring knees wide, sit back onto heels, sink back. Begin just by stretching arms out and then letting palms of hands just soften and feeling that softness creep up along your arms to your elbows, to your shoulders, and then across your heart space, and allowing heart space to drop down towards your mat. Skin of forehead just softening. So we'll hold these poses for in between kind of 2 and 5 minutes each. So we can start off in our child's pose. We'll be here for between 2 and 3 minutes. So you can really take your time to kind of sink in. Maybe to feel your hips heavy, sinking back towards your heels, your chest, your face just softening down. And beginning in our child's pose is just a lovely invitation to kind of turn gaze, turn attention inwards as we prepare for that more introspective season of autumn time and heading towards winter, but with absolutely no hurry to get there. So maybe just noticing if you can invite some softness, maybe around your jaw, around the backs of your shoulders, around the base of your spine. Notice if anywhere in your body feels as though you're gripping or holding on. Maybe you just invite your breath to soften through the shape of your body. You allow yourself just to come back to your center here. A time of returning to earth after kind of summer haze and maybe all the kind of fun and festivities of summer, that feeling of just slowing down, coming back to a lovely stillness in this late summertime. So taking this child's pose to really just allow yourself to soften, to settle. We'll prepare to come into a twisted child's pose. So twists are lovely for nourishing our digestive organs. So as you're ready, you'll just maybe creep back up through your fingertips, maybe reactivate through your arms. Beginning just by sliding your right arm underneath your left, turning onto the right side of your face. Your left arm can stay reaching forward. Or Maybe your arm comes back and around and just rests at the lower back or hooks onto your right thigh. So just letting your right arm soften, your right shoulder to soften, the right side of your face to soften. So our yin poses are all about just staying for a little bit longer and allowing body to kind of soften into a shape. So again, just taking time to notice if there is anywhere that you feel like you're holding on. Is there anywhere that you can maybe take a lovely exhale and just sink your weight in? So these twists nourishing for our digestive organs, and this late summer kind of turn towards autumn time of year is associated in Chinese medicine with the stomach and the spleen meridian, so primary organs of digestion. So just nourishing those channels, nourishing our digestion with these little twists and with these nice openers for inner thighs, fronts of thighs. As though you're kind of digesting everything that's happened throughout the year until this point. So not just physically, maybe metaphorically, emotionally. What can you digest? What do you need to hold on to? What offers you nourishment? And what can you let just kind of slide and soften away? What can you release? Just allowing that softness around right shoulder, face, breath, just a steady, even flow, nothing too forced, not too much effort in the breath. Just a few more deeper breaths here, maybe. And then as you're ready to, maybe you unravel your left arm. If your left arm was threaded around, you can stretch back out. You can come back into center and just stretch out and feel that return of sensation down your right arm. Maybe right side of rib cage, right side of torso. And just give the legs a little bit of a break here. We'll come forward into a sphinx. So you'll send your legs back, you'll come down onto your belly. Just let your elbows root down. If you want to, palms can come together. Or maybe hands just rest down in that same line as your elbows. Finding your comfortable position for your head, for your neck. Sometimes it feels nice to just keep head in that same line as your spine. Or maybe it feels nice to just let your chin drop and let your shoulders soften. Just find whatever form of a sphinx pose suits your body best. So again, just between kind of 2 and 3 minutes here. Allowing the tops of your feet to sink down if lower back feels fine. If you need to, you can always maybe activate a little bit through glutes, through hamstrings. You might find that your breath feels as though it flows a little bit more easily in the right side of your body after that twist. Feeling of having opened up channels on right side. Just letting everything kind of diffuse its way through layers of body here. Again, breath just even, steady. That feeling of returning to balance, returning to center, regrounding. After all of that kind of bright, expansive, energetic qualities of summer. The feeling of coming back down to earth. So that's the element associated with this time of year, is our earth element. And just that feeling of kind of regrounding, regrouping, recentering. Maybe also more familiar is that kind of back to school time and that return to maybe routine and habit. Maybe healthy habits, like your regular yin practice. Nourishing body, breath, spirit with your practice. I'll just stay for a couple more deep breaths here in your Sphinx. If you feel like you want to intensify, always that opportunity to just reach fingertips towards top corners of mat. Maybe lift a little bit higher into your seal pose. If you want to really stretch out that front line of your body, you can also bend your knees, but if that causes any discomfort in the lower back, we'll just keep the legs down. Maybe you gaze slightly shifts up. And then as you're ready, we'll just bring the legs down if the legs were up. Come back down onto forearms if you were up onto hands. Bring hands back down by rib cage. Return to your child's pose. So nice wide knees and just preparing to twist over the other way. So left hand will thread underneath. Right hand can stay right, reaching forward. Or it can come around and rest at lower back. Or even just squeeze in between the torso and the thighs. The left side of your face just softens down. So again, about 3 minutes here. So do take the time to kind of find your way into your comfortable twist, to adjust anything that needs to be adjusted. And then to just let yourself sink, soften. Feeling of being able to let go anything that might be gripping, anything that you don't need to hold on to. Allowing for space in this season of transition, season of change. Feeling of being able to just slow down into that gentler pace of the beginnings of autumn. Nourishing yourself, your practice with your breathing. Soaking up that last summer sun, summer warmth, summer radiance. Feeling that lovely twist along your spine, maybe down into internal organs, stomach, spleen. Coming into a feeling of kind of ease in your practice. A feeling of being at home in the shape of your body. And a feeling of harmony with natural world around us as we connect to our earth element. Feeling grounded, settled, centered, fully present. Mhm. Maybe we have about 30 seconds more here, half a minute. Maybe that feeling of when you know you're coming up for a change, it feels like you want to stay where you are, and maybe that same kind of energy around the summertime. As you see it fade, it's almost as though you appreciate it even more. So really appreciating these last few moments here. And then as you're ready to, you can take an in-breath to just unwind. Just come back for a moment into a regular child's pose, and hopefully you feel a sense of balance on each side of your body, both of your arms, both of your legs, both sides of your waist. And we'll stretch out the legs this time with a downward dog. So just bringing knees back underneath hips, tucking toes, and then stretching back out into down dog. And you might feel good to just kind of pedal out through the legs here. Might be more comfortable to stay still. Whatever is going to work best for you as you just stretch out your legs, stretch out your spine, stretch out through your arms. And then we'll prepare to come back down. So we'll bring the left knee to the mat and we'll bring the right foot through. We'll come into a dragon or a lunge shape. So for me, it's more comfortable to just put my hands on the inside of that right foot. For you, it might be okay to have your hands on either side. You might also like to bring a block or two in to just bring the mat a little bit closer. So coming into our dragon and setting ourselves up, perhaps that left leg reaching a little bit further back so that you feel that stretch on the top of your left thigh. So stomach and spleen meridians traveling kind of across the front of the hip. So just connecting to that lovely stretch there. Again, as always, taking the time if you need to modify or adjust anything that you need so that you feel as though you can stay, where you feel that sensation of kind of opening, of lengthening, but without discomfort. Notice if you're gripping around your shoulders, around your face. You might find that as you just kind of pause for some time, you might feel as though you're sinking in more, as though you're opening up more. So if you're on your blocks, it might feel like you can come down. If you're on your hands, you might even drop to your elbows if that feels appropriate. So once you've kind of found the edge where you feel that sensation, can you soften? Can you allow yourself to just be here, be present with these sensations? Maybe feeling gentle drawing of pelvis down towards earth. Feeling centered and grounded. Maybe you have a little bit of that kind of desire to be fidgety or to find distraction. Can you just keep bringing yourself back to your center, to your breath, to the shape of your body? The sensations of breath and body. So again, maybe just a couple more deep breaths. And come into a little variation when you're ready to. So if your right hand isn't on the inside of the foot. Just bring that foot on the outside of the hand, and you'll just walk the right foot over to the right slightly. You bring your right hand just to that inner thigh. And then we'll come into a little twisted dragon, a twisted lunge. So it might be comfortable to drop down to your left elbow. It might be more comfortable to stay on your hand. And you'll maybe just bring a little bit of light pressure onto the inner right thigh and maybe turn your gaze either upwards or just kind of straight ahead. Maybe relaxing the muscles of your neck. As we come into this little variation of our dragon pose, of our lunge. If at any time it becomes too intense, you can always just find your way back to a regular lunge. Or if everything feels okay, can you just embrace that feeling of feeling drawn towards earth? Centered, settled, present with sensation. That little twist again, that nourishment for organs of digestion. And that stretch on inner and top of thighs. So perhaps just maybe 3 more breaths here. We won't stay for too long because it can be quite intense. And as you're ready to come up, your right hand will come back down. Come back to that lunge shape, and then we'll just counter that bend in the right knee with a little half split, so hands can kind of come out at a bit of an angle here. So in that lunge, maybe just finding a softening of the right foot, to softening up the edge of the right leg. Softness around shoulders, around palms of hands, and we won't be here too long, just for a few moments to kind of counteract that lunge on the right side of the body. Let's see if you can soften at all around left glute. Just let yourself kind of feel drawn towards earth. Maybe feeling breath in back of body. And then as you're ready here, we're going to rebend. We're going to come into a straddle pose. So this is when you might want your blanket, bolster, cushion. So we can place that towards the back of your mat. We're going to bend into the left knee. So it's quite a deep bend of the left knee. So if straight away that feels uncomfortable or causes any kind of discomfort around that left knee joint, you'll come forward and you'll just come back into a sphinx or into a seal pose. We're opening up kind of top of left thigh. So you can always do that just with your sphinx or your seal. If everything feels okay, you might want your support here. Some people are able to just lie flat back onto the mat, or it can be a lot more comfortable to kind of have some sort of means of raising the back of the body. Find that comfortable position for your left knee, so roughly in line with your hip, a little bend there with the top of the foot down, and then you'll just gradually lower yourself back. You might find that you need to be up a little bit higher, or it might be okay to just let yourself rest. It can take a little bit of adjusting here to kind of get completely comfortable. Or just to that point where you feel that opening up on the front of the left thigh from the knee all the way to the hip, maybe up that kind of line of the abdomen. Maybe your shoulders can relax and you can find that softness creeping up around the face. Your breath might be a little bit higher. It might kind of circulate around space of heart here. Let breath just find its natural rhythm. If at any point things become too intense, you'll come up. You'll find your way into Sphinx or to Seal, maybe with your knees bent. Or if everything's okay, can you sink your pelvis down? Can you let your spine just find its nice natural bend? Just enjoying that feeling of rooting, grounding, centering. As we remain for a few more rounds of breath. So feeling sensation from inside out. Maybe about another half a minute. Again, maybe noticing if that kind of reminder that time is passing maybe leads us to want to kind of hold on and to stay. And just fully appreciating these last moments here. Not worrying about the time. I'll keep my eye on the time. Just really feeling full sensation in each pose. Maybe one more deep breath. Then an inhale, you can come up to elbows, maybe press your way up. And just let your left leg extend out. Feel that return of sensation through left side of body. Take a moment and then we'll prepare to move to the other side. So bolster cushion can just move out the way for a moment. You'll find your way back. Maybe to all fours, down dog. It might feel nice to just kind of pedal, stretch out before you let your knees come down and we move over to the other side. So your left foot comes forward now. Bring my little timer with me. Maybe on the outside of the left hand if that's comfortable. If you have longer arms, you might be able to bring both hands on the outside. You might need your blocks there to begin. As we come into our dragon pose on the other side, notice if you kind of need a little bit of that yang movement before you settle into yin element of pose. Maybe some little sways before you can just kind of soften, find your center. Notice if you're gripping around right glute, and can you just allow pelvis to feel drawn towards earth. So the earth, so central to this time of year and harvest time as well, where we celebrate fruits and gifts of the earth. Maybe our own kind of inner harvest as well, and maybe we reap benefits of seeds that we've sown throughout the year. We notice kind of what's bloomed, what's blossomed, what's grown. Maybe what hasn't kind of bloomed so well. What we might want to think about a bit more for the next harvest season or the next kind of half of the year. Really enjoying that last kind of bloom, that last blossoming, that last fullness of the earth in the late summer and moving towards autumn. Feel yourself filled up with the energy of the earth and how all those gifts of the earth become our own gifts too. Those fruits, vegetables, everything that we reap at this time of year becomes our own energy that sustains us through autumn and through winter. Noticing maybe for these last few moments, if you feel like you want to sink in more, if you want to drop down off your blocks or onto your elbows. Maybe just preparing to come to that twist. So maybe walking left foot a little bit further over. Can roll to the outside edge of the foot if that's okay. Left hand just meeting inside of left thigh. Might feel comfortable to drop onto elbow or to rest up onto your hand. Maybe your gaze turns upward. So a little bit more intense. If it becomes too much, then you'll just come back into your regular dragon, your regular lunge. Or maybe you can breathe into that edge and you can kind of feel boundaries of body softening. Just being present with sensation. Maybe resisting any of that urge to kind of back away as soon as things feel a little bit uncomfortable. Being with sensation rather than avoiding or trying to change and resisting. Again, maybe about a half a minute more. So you might find that you can kind of intensify a little bit, or you might be perfectly fine just as you are. Your breath being a guide, so if breath becomes kind of held or hurried, maybe a sign that you need to just back off slightly. You can slowly begin to just come back up. Might feel a bit creaky, finding your way back. And then we'll find our way into that half split. So just softening around left foot, left heel. Maybe softening hips back towards heel. Softening palms, fingers, chin down towards chest. So a different sensation around the left leg here. Maybe that inner edge of left thigh. That feeling of being able to breathe into back of lungs, into back of heart space. And feeling that softness. So across shoulders, into face, down, whole left seam of body. Just a moment more, then you'll rebend and we'll prepare for that half straddle onto the right side. So of course there might be a difference between your left knee and your right knee. So if as soon as you get there and you bend that right knee, that's not comfortable, you'll find your way forward into your Sphinx or your seal. You might be more open on this side and find that you don't need that support behind you, but just take your time to set up. And then when you're ready, you'll sink back. Take the time to kind of adjust so that pelvis feels balanced, spine feels neutral. And there's that difference between intensity around right knee and pain. And if there's pain, we come out. We take an alternative. Or if it's just kind of intense sensation, can you maybe just direct your breath down that front line of the right hip, the right thigh, and invite some more softness on your exhale. Allow yourself to sink. So not rushing, not trying to achieve any particular shape with your body. Instead, a feeling of just allowing body to be in this shape. and fully appreciate sensation. Just like you fully appreciate this kind of fading summertime. And how those warm, sunny days, they feel like such a gift when you know that there might not be too many more of them. Imagine yourself filled up by that late summer sun, a warmth and a radiance through the body. I should have said, if in any of these poses you feel like you want to stay for longer, then you can always just press pause. Set your own timer on your phone or your watch. You can stay for as long as you like. Sinking in, softening in, recentering, regrounding, reconnecting. So maybe about half a minute more again on this side. Aware of time passing and appreciating the intensity or the sensation of each moment. Desire to maybe linger longer as you know the time is passing. Enjoying another deep breath, and as you're ready to, maybe you come up onto elbows, stretching out. You can just lean to your left side and let your right leg just stretch out next to your left. Let your toes flex back. It might feel good to just wiggle your toes. You can move your support to one side. It might feel nice to just bend knees. Little windscreen wipers with knees, just as though you're kind of allowing sensation to circulate around hips and pelvis. And then we can prepare ourselves to come back into a Shavasana. So whatever form that might take, using your supports or not. Might feel nice if you do have that rolled up blanket or that bolster to just slide it underneath your knees. Can feel really nice for the lower back. Can just be a little kind of release on the fronts of those hips. Let your arms just relax down. Palms of the hands open. Like a gesture of receiving these gifts of late summertime, turning towards autumn, receiving the gifts of the harvest season, and the gift of your practice, and seeds that you've sown throughout the year. Feeling that benefit now. Maybe a little heaviness on the backs of your fingers and your thumbs. Feeling of the back of the heart space being able to melt down onto your mat. Back of your head being able to soften. Allowing yourself just to yield back into this slower, softer pace. Feeling of coming back down to earth. After your summer days, your summer haze. Maybe you feel a lovely warm glow at the center of your chest. That kind of softness of contentment. Appreciation and presence. Feeling yourself filled up at the end of the summer season, filled up with the warmth, nourishment of summer sun, able to bring that light with you as we turn towards autumn, turning towards darker half of the year. So you can stay for as long as you like in Shavasana, really appreciating this stillness, this feeling of being filled up with this late summer glow. And perhaps it's time for you to gently begin to reawaken by just inviting deeper breaths. And so you could feel the nourishment of that breath spread through the whole shape of your body. Maybe you gently stretch out your fingers and your toes. You begin to gently come back. A little tingle of energy through fingertips, toe tips, through ankles, wrists, arms, legs. Maybe a stretch. And just taking your time to roll to one side, eyes can stay closed as you slowly make your way back into a seat. When you get there, maybe we open up the hands onto the knees. Gesture of gratitude, of receiving as you inhale. Arms can sweep up towards the sky as though you're reaching towards that sun dropping in the sky. Bring hands together. Let hands draw down into your center. Feel yourself filled up with that late summer glow. And then as you open up your hands and open up your eyes this time, feeling of offering that glow out into the world around you. Thank you, everybody. I hope you feel lovely and earthy and grounded as we head into this late summer, turn into autumn period of the year. Enjoy your practice, and I look forward to seeing you soon.